Hi everyone, I am Lindsay Barnett and I'm so excited to share Pup Quiz with you today. Pup Quiz is a one-stop solution for math enrichment, and each kindergarten through 5th grade kit contains the most useful hands-on materials to help students strengthen their problem-solving skills, fact fluency, number sense, and social-emotional learning skills. Each Pup Quiz kit has 30 unique worksheets for each operation. They look like this. We have addition, subtraction, multiplication, and division. So there should actually be 120 unique sheets in all in the kit. And these reusable worksheets are perfect for daily math activities, and I use these as warm-ups every day and have kids actually track their growth. So my favorite activity to do with this worksheet is a great way to start off class, and that is that I time kids for a set amount of time. It could be 1 minute, 5 minutes, 10 minutes, whatever is appropriate for the students that you work with. And then I have kids try to answer as many questions in that time period as they can. Then after the time is up, kids will record how many correct problems they answered. And what I find is that students will quickly see that their practice pays off as they answer more problems each day. It's one of the greatest ways for kids to get engaged in their own learning and actually see that practice makes perfect. So that's my favorite activity with the fast math worksheets, but my personal favorite game is called the Pup Quiz Challenge. And in the Pup Quiz Challenge, players will race to correctly finish their sheet the fastest. So this game works best for students trying to strengthen their fact automaticity, and it can be differentiated to give students an appropriate challenge. So for example, some students may use addition or subtraction, and others may use multiplication or division. And additionally, the engagement in this game is enhanced by students getting to race and battle against a teacher or a parent or even a clock. And this is something that I do with my class. And every Friday, the kids get to battle me to see if they can complete their sheet faster than me. And it's one of these things that makes them so engaged in the math activities and math practice. And they'll practice and study all week to see if they can try to do it faster than me. So I very much encourage you to try this at home with your child, or in the classroom, have them actually battle each other in addition to doing the warm-ups. This is an excellent way to start a math class, and the Pup Quiz Challenge is an exciting way to end the session with a rewarding game. And what's most important is that these games can be used during in-person and online learning. They translate very well to online learning, so if you are working with your students in that setting, do not worry. The next item in the kit that I want to share with you is called the Multiple Choice Word Problem Cards. These differentiated cards provide word problem practice at each grade level. The cards in the set go from 1st grade to 4th grade, and the goal of these cards is to train kids to identify keywords and understand what they mean. So in order to do this, I'll share this card. This is a 1st grade card, and what kids will do is they'll read it and they'll say, Duke has 13 bones, he gives 7 bones to Romeo, how many bones does Duke have left? So the first thing that we want kids to do when they have these cards is they should be looking for the keyword. What is the problem asking us to do? Well, I see gives and I see left, and both of those are keywords for subtraction. So 13 minus 7 is 6. Kids will insert their finger into one of the little circles, and above their finger they'll have a puppy, if they got it correct, over their finger. And then on the back, it actually shares an explanation for how to answer the problem. So it says the answer is 6 bones. Left is a keyword for subtraction. 13 minus 7 equals 6. Now, at the very, very bottom, you can see that there's a Common Core state standard that corresponds to this question. So what I like is for kids in maybe in a station or just in a kind of enrichment activity to answer as many questions as they can correctly. And if they have incorrect questions, they should put those cards in a pile and then show them to their teacher or their parent. And then it's a really great way for parents to be able to engage with their kids learning and understand what standards their student knows. And it's an easy way for teachers to keep track of how all of the students in the class are progressing through the curriculum. And as I said, there are ones for each of the different grade levels, and they have the corresponding standards on the back as well. So the next item in the kit is a card deck with 104 playing cards. These cards are fantastic for stations, enrichment, and even family game nights. And there are so many games to play, but a few of my favorite games that can be both played virtually or in person are the following. So this is what they look like. They have this cute little puppy on the front, and then on the back of it, they have a number with with the correct number of counters so that kids can count the paws to be able to help them do their math more properly. So the first game that I love to play is Tug of War, which is basically our version of war. So to play this game, players should have the same amount of cards in the deck, and at the same time, the players will flip their cards. So it will look like this. And the player with the larger card wins and gets to collect the cards. So in this case, a 12 is bigger than 11, and that player will get to keep the cards. And you'll play until the entire stack is complete. So I love this because this is a game that can actually be differentiated to a variety of levels. You know, it's traditionally used with regular number cards that look like this, but it can also be used with any of the flashcards in our decks as well. More advanced students can even play games with fractions by flipping 2 cards at a time and comparing their fraction to their opponent's fraction. So that can really scale anywhere from a kindergarten or preschool level all the way up to a 5th grade level. So that is Tug of War. Another game that I love is called Top Dog. To play this game, 2 people will place a playing card on their head without seeing their own card. The third group member will add or multiply depending on the student's level and say the sum or product out loud. The players with the cards on their heads will try to figure out their number by using subtraction or division. The first person to correctly identify his or her number wins and takes player 3's role. And this game works best for students trying to strengthen their fact automaticity. So just to explain a little more clearly, one player puts this card on their head, that's a 3. One player puts this card on their head, that's an 11. And so the third player would say 14. Now the 3 can obviously see, oh, my opponent has an 11, so 11 plus what equals 14, or 14 minus 11 equals what? My number is 3. That's how that game works, and that's called Top Dog. The next game that I want to share is called Paws Up, Paws Down. To play this game, one player will place a number card on his head or her head without looking. So in this case, it would look like this. Then that player will guess a number between 0 to 12. So let's say I say 12. The other player will either say greater or less to help his or her partner identify the correct number. So they would say less, and I would try to get it all the way down to until I can get the correct answer 1. So those 2 players are kind of working together to get the correct answers. The next game that I love is called Zoomies. And to play this game, you can flip a playing card. If it is an odd number, the kids need to hop on 1 foot. And if it's an even number, then they hop on 2 feet. And it's really just a fun way to kind of have a brain break and also get kids a little bit more engaged in their learning. The next game that I want to share with you is called Husky Numbers. And this is a game that can be played with 2 to 4 players. And to play this game, you have to deal 3 cards. So here are my 3 cards. Here we go. Here are my 3 cards. And with those cards, players will make the largest possible number by placing the greatest card in the hundreds place, their second greatest card in the tens place, and their least valuable card in the ones place. So in this case, I would have to rearrange them, and my cards would wind up being to 310. If 310 was bigger than my opponent's, then I would get the cards. And if my opponent had a larger number, then he or she would get the cards. So those are a few of my favorite games that can be played with that card deck. But a lot of those games can also be differentiated to use the entire flashcard sets as well. And as you can see, the next items in the kit are the flashcards, and they have them for each operation. These cards can be used traditionally to practice fact fluency, but they also can be used in a number of games online and in person. And here are just two of my favorites. So the first one is called Best in Show, which is our version at Pop Quiz of Around the World. And this can be played online or in person. And to play this game, you can select the developmentally appropriate flashcards. So in this case, maybe it's division, or addition, or subtraction, or multiplication. And you can select the card and then have kids try to answer it more quickly than their opponent. So you pick a student to start and then have them challenge the person seated next to them or next to them on the Zoom screen. And then you randomly pick a card from the pile and ask the two students to solve it. The first person to solve the problem wins the round and moves on to the next person. If the player is able to defeat every person in the class, then he or she wins. If the player loses, he or she gets to take the chair of the player who won the round if you're playing in person. This game works best for students developing their word problem skills and fact automaticity, because you can also play this with the word problem cards as well. To differentiate this game, you can use any of the cards in the kit. The other one that I love, which can also be used virtually or in person, is called Bingo, Pop Quiz Bingo. Now, it takes a little creativity, but what I like to do is play this game with the four corners. The object of the game is to get each number in the four corners called. And so, to play this game, players, that becomes their bingo board, and you can do it with any of the boards that you have, whether it's addition, subtraction, multiplication, or division. And then the cards, instead of having like bingo balls, you'll have the corresponding flashcards to pick. So for example, 2 + 1 is 3. So if 3 was one of the corner numbers for me, I would color it in. But if it's not, I'd have to wait to see if my number was called next. And the first person to get all four corners wins. You can also play it with a number of different ways. You could play it with a full line or up and down, but four corners is one that translates really well, especially online when you can more easily check each kid's correct answers. So those are a few of my favorite games that can also be played with online and in person. And then all of the games that I've shared can be done a little bit differently in a classroom setting, because they can be done in stations, or they can be done after kids are finished with their work. But there's also a few games that I wanted to add for in-person learning that don't really translate as well to the virtual setting, but they can be played if each kid has a kit. They can be played with their families in person as well. So one of the games is called Fetch, and this is really just a scavenger hunt. So to play this game, I hide flashcards all over the room, and I try to have kids find them and answer them. And it's a great way to really just get kids super engaged with answering a bunch of problems, and they just love it. If it's a nice day and you have kids in person, you can hide the cards around the playground or the park, and they have just a blast going around and trying to fetch all the cards that they can. The next game is called No Barking Allowed, and this is one that you play with the whole class. It's a great warm-up enrichment game. And this is where you give one playing card or flashcard to each person in the class, and then tell them how to organize and group themselves. So it could be least to greatest, even versus odd, or factors of a chosen number. And then students will have to correctly arrange themselves in that order without talking. And that, if they can do that, then they win the game. And this game really just adds this social emotional learning component to practicing math and can be differentiated to meet the academic needs of any group of students. The last game that I love is an escape room. And this entire set really does have all of the tools in order to create an escape room. And so that's something that if you are interested in, you can reach out to me and I can share with you what I've done with this kit to create an escape room in my own classroom. But it is something that is just so exciting and a great way to get kids very engaged. So thank you guys so much for listening. The possibilities, as you can see with this kit, are endless. And I encourage you to use these activities to gamify learning while increasing social and emotional learning. And if you have any questions about the materials, please reach out to me. You can reach out directly on the website or Instagram page, and I will get back to you as soon as possible. I can't wait for your students and your kids to use Pup Quiz, and I'm truly honored that Pup Quiz can be a part of your students' educational experience. Thank you guys so much again. Have a great day.